Guess what? If A is a success in life, then A equals X plus Y plus Z. X is work, Y is play, and Z is keep your mouth shut. Hello, welcome to my famous world, the world of Albert Einstein. I was born on March 14th, 1879 in Ulm-Württemberg, Germany. When I was born, my family thought that I was deformed because I was such a fat baby with a humongous head. At age 5, my wonderful daddy gave me a compass that changed my life forever. A few years later, I attended a school called Luitpold Gymnasium in Munich, Germany, where I was known among the teachers as a slow starter. At age 12, oh, what a genius I was. I taught myself Euclidean geometry and calculus. At age 15, about 4 years later, I attended a different school called the Swiss Federal Polytechnic School in Zurich, Switzerland, where I trained as a teacher in mathematics and physics. The next year, I conducted my very first thought about traveling alongside a beam of light. So, if you were traveling alongside a beam of light, which is approximately 299,792,458 meters per second, a clock's face that you were looking at a second before would seem to stay the same. This is because you are moving so quickly, and the clock is not moving at all. Now, if it were traveling alongside you, it would continue to tell time correctly. Aren't I a genius? A few years later, at 17, I reapplied at the Swiss Federal Polytechnic School and failed everything but math, science, and physics. But I also graduated that same year, and I learned at the speed of light. Never, ever would I forget the year of 1896, when I met the love of my life. Her name was Mileva Marique, and we got married on January 6th the following year. In 1900, I got my degree in physics, and in 1904, we had our first son, Hans Albert Einstein. In 1905, I got my doctor's degree, yet I have no idea why they call it a doctor's degree if I am not a doctor. Also, that same year, I published 4 papers called the Annus Mirabilis papers, which changed the course of physics for all eternity. The first paper is based on the photoelectric effect, which describes how light can act as both a particle and a wave. The second paper confirms the existence of molecules and atoms, while the third paper is based on the theory of special relativity. Finally, the fourth paper uses the equation E equals mc squared, or energy is equivalent to mass times the speed of light squared. My third paper is the most famous, and you should check it out sometime. Also in 1905, I donated a handwritten copy of my third paper to an auction which sold for $6.5 million. Much later, I answered the question, why in the world is the sky blue? I also discovered something called dark matter. Huge chunks of matter that do not emit light under any circumstances and have been proved to exist by their gravitational effect. About 5 years later, I published the theory of general relativity, which describes how light and gravity work in the universe. Sadly, in 1942, I discovered that my equation was being used in the Manhattan Project for pure evil. On July 16th, they used my equation in a nuclear bomb which killed thousands of people. Well, at least it was correct. I died on April 18th, 1955 because of a faulty blood vessel that exploded in my tummy. Would you like to hear a cool fact? My brain has been pickled in a jar just like asparagus for 43 years. Put your hand on a hot stove for a minute and it seems like an hour. Sit with a pretty girl for an hour and it seems like a minute. Now that is relativity.